Thank you, Chairman Simpson, Ranking Member Pingree, and members of the subcommittee for this opportunity to share our priorities for fiscal year 2025. My name is Quinton Swanson. I am the chairman of the Shoalwater Bay Indian Tribe. We are located on the beautiful north shore of Willowhetrick Bay in Washington State. Like many coastal tribes, we are stewards of the ocean. As tribal chairman and lifelong resident of Tokeland, I have learned firsthand that vibrant and successful communities are not possible without a healthy community and a healthy environment. I appreciate the subcommittee is responsible for these same priorities, and it is in that shared spirit of community that I speak to you today. Tribal communities are uniquely impacted by our changing environment due to a deep connection to our ancestral homelands. My tribe faces persistent erosion and sea level rise. Our current reservation is just barely above sea level, and a rise of just 2 more feet would put everything underwater. At any moment, a single tsunami would take out our entire community and what defines us as Shoalwater people. I urge this subcommittee to support significantly increased funding for Indian country, especially chronically underfunded tribal environmental resiliency programs. We are disheartened that the subcommittee approved limitations on BIA and IHS funding in 2024. I remind the subcommittee that its trust and treaty obligations exist irrespective of any self-imposed budgeting caps. For my tribe, there is no choice but to move to higher, safer ground. We purchased land adjacent to our reservation at 250 feet above sea level. The land is completely raw and undeveloped, meaning we must heavily invest to move our community there. This upland relocation project is currently estimated to cost up to $450 million. We have been tapping out our own reserves and doing everything we can to implement the early phases of this project, while still caring for our citizens simultaneously. Yet, the federal government is failing us. We are only able to manage our survival piece by piece, as we go from agency to agency and appeal to our congressional delegation to string resources together. This is unsustainable and inconsistent with the federal trust responsibility. I remind the subcommittee that the failure to dedicate adequate resources to these efforts is tantamount to being complicit in the disappearance of our lands, our people, and our way of life. Fortunately, I come here today to offer a potential solution. H.R. 7859, the Tribal Environmental Resiliency Resources Act, or TERRA Act. I thank you, Chairman Simpson and Representative Kilmer, for your vision and leadership on the TERRA Act, and I ask the other members of this subcommittee to support this bill as well. Modeled on the success of the PL 477 program, the TERRA Act would create a hub and interior for tribes to identify and access existing resources by integrating them into comprehensive plans tailored to their resiliency needs. We are finding that the problem is not that the resources do not exist, but more that they are siloed across the federal government with restrictive or conflicting timelines and requirements. The TERRA Act fills gaps and eliminates barriers, cutting through red tape to provide tribes with one place to go for accessing resources and deciding for themselves how to best serve their communities. The TERRA Act has widespread support from Indian country. I urge the subcommittee to support prompt passage of the bipartisan TERRA Act. There is no time to waste. We also support increasing the IHS budget. We support full mandatory funding for all IHS accounts at $54 billion. The federal trust responsibility is obligatory and should be treated as such. We especially support mandatory funding for CSC and Section 105L leases, in line with the obligatory nature of these payments. If full mandatory appropriations cannot be achieved this year, we continue to support advance appropriations in the short term. Thank you for your time and attention. Our full recommendation is available in our written testimony. I invite all of you to come visit us at Shoalwater. We look forward to sharing with you our resilience as a sovereign nation. Mossy.
Thank you, I will take you up on that. I have never been, Kilmer's never invited me to the big peninsula. He's just never invited me, and I don't know why. He's always saying, I want to go, and he says, no, you can't go. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to get out. Surprisingly, Having lived that close, I've never been to the Olympic Peninsula, really. I've been to Seattle, but I've never gone around on the peninsula and stuff.
He's got a very famous seal.
Yeah, I will do that. Esther?